absolutely delighted with it, absolutely delighted with the progress. Despite all of the inclement weather that there was at the start of the project, to be back on track both in terms of time scale and cost and everything else is just tremendous. The success of projects like this are very much dependent not only in terms of the conditions of contract that form the PFI project itself, but more importantly, or equally as importantly, on the relationships that are developed as part of the process. And we have developed very good open book relationships on both sides, which are clearly focused on providing this flagship development.
The locals, whether they be trust staff, whether they be people in the local communities, not just in Enniskillen but throughout the southwest, have all shown tremendous interest. And that extends itself into the workforce on site, who you quite rightly have pride in what they're doing, but pride in having a facility of this size and complexity and quality in their part of the world. So it's been great to be part of, really.
This is my third visit, and every time I come I see so much more done. I mean, the work is really getting on so quickly. It's a beautiful building. It's it has made good use of local materials, and the fact that it's very eco-friendly. It's using green energy. I think this is really such a brilliant investment in the people of Fermanagh and Tyrone. But not only that, it'll reach out to Sligo, to Cavan, to Leitrim, and it'll create a centre of excellence for health in the West that I believe we deserve and are entitled to, and I think this hospital delivers.
I've been involved from the outset in the Community Liaison Forum, and you're asking the question there, do they listen? They do listen. Small things that we put in the Community Liaison Forum, they took them on board, and it wasn't a matter of just I hear what you say. They listened and did implement. I'm very much impressed by it today.
We have been involved as clinicians and at every level in planning for this. So it's got to work, because if it doesn't work, that's not going to reflect terribly well on us, because we have been involved.
I've been very impressed by the Western Trust's openness about it all, and their willingness to discuss it with everyone. And it doesn't matter who that is, not just the politicians, but the community groups, the activists on the ground, and they've been quite willing to go and meet these people, tell them what's happening, and try to keep them up to date with it.
They seem to have taken on board everything that could be taken on board, and there are a lot of changes from the original designs, a lot of changes, So, I mean, it was a privilege to be involved in that, and the Trust did involve everybody in that, and it's great to see it coming to fruition,
It's a highly serviced building, as you can imagine. We've got to make sure that when the staff and patients are operating this as a major medical facility, safety is paramount. All the systems have to work. So there's a huge commissioning process goes on here. There's huge complexity if you look around, up in the ceilings and behind the walls and that sort of thing. A huge number of what people would describe as pipes and cables and cable trays holding all sorts of things, and that's a huge part of this. The actual last 12 months is hugely complex compared to the first 24 months because of the proving that has to be done, because we have to ensure that when the button's pressed or the switch is thrown, that those things actually work.
This is really an important milestone for us, and it really has allowed us not only an opportunity to show people around the development and how far it's got, but also to reinforce the connections that are made with all of the people who have been instrumental in this development, like community-based organisations, like all of our clinical staff and nursing staff and clinical leaders who have been involved right from the outset of this process, because their input right up to now and continuing in terms of the finer detail of the design is really, really important in getting fit for purpose building.